Now, folks, if you'll just gather around a little closer now. Come right in a little closer. That's it. That's fine, folks.
All right, let's go, because you know what I came in to do.
I don't get paid for overtime. I'm here to fight.
If I had to put my money on it, I would say it's not happening. It all boils down to if both men want it. And if both men don't want it and one's doing it for the wrong reasons, it'll never happen. He's going to have a run out with someone what's in my shape and have a proper camp, proper sparring, a lot of Southport sparring, and get prepped for Usyk. Because no one in the right mind is going to roll the dice with a big fight with £100 million on line to satisfy some idiots in armchairs. So he's going to be probably fighting MANUEL CHARR,
who's not a southpaw. Now, sometimes the different dialects in the United Kingdom might not let you catch the full flavour of what's being said. Tyson Fury is going to have a run out with somebody in my shape, is what Shane Fury just said there. In his shape. Shane don't box. He's going to fight a stiff. Tyson Fury was having a laugh. Shane just told you, you're not going to take all these chances and potentially mess up this $100 million fight. His own words. Although, does Usyk Fury generate as much money as AJ Fury? But these are Shane's words. He's going to get a lot of southpaw sparring in, although I don't know what southpaw work MANUEL CHARR can give him. If Shane's saying that Tyson Fury is prepping for Usyk, why are you going to fight MANUEL CHARR? Why don't you fight a southpaw? Give the Swedish guy a rematch, Otto Wallen. I don't know if Tyson Fury or Frank Warren saw Shane Fury in this interview. He basically snitched them up. That Tyson Fury is going to fight MANUEL CHARR. He's going to be doing a lot of southpaw training. Bob Arum keeps saying, they're not going to take it because they don't want Joshua to get knocked out. No, that's you trying to put the liability on Eddie and Joshua. This is you telling us the fight's not going to happen. You think anyone outside of a moronic Tyson Fury fan is buying this nonsense? Joseph Parker weighed in at 255, 4 pounds heavier than he weighed in for the Chisora rematch late last year. Joyce came in at 271. Career highest weight, 271. 6 pounds heavier than he was for Christian Hammer. He weighed in at 270 in 2020 for Michael Wallace. That was a tune-up for Dubois to shed some ring rust, but this is a more significant career-defining fight. You know, when you weigh in 270 for Michael Wallace, the theory is you can afford to come in that heavy against Michael. No disrespect, because he's relatively limited. But Joseph Parker is someone you would have thought he would have came in lighter for. This isn't the result of him sitting around on the couch having to shed ring rust. This is after a full camp. So unless he's injured, this is deliberate. This is part of the strategy. If it goes wrong, people are going to be questioning the weight. It doesn't look like either man is coming to dance around the ring. They're looking to land heavy shots and muscle each other around the ring. 16-pound weight advantage for Joe Joyce. What's scary is Joe appears to be carrying it very well, but it's hard to tell at the weigh-in. I think you see the true physique when they're in the ring, for whatever reason that is, but he seems to be carrying it well. Joseph Parker, you can see he's more muscled, but his physique, he looks like a barrel. He doesn't look as athletic, but he's not trying to score points for being a body beautiful or anything like that. Some people will argue Parker doesn't throw enough punches. Will the added bulk assist that? I doubt it. Or did Andy Lee and the Parker camp anticipate that Joe was going to come in heavy, so they thought they'd pack on a few more pounds to try and combat that, so Joyce doesn't have it all his own way, trying to bully Parker at close quarters? Had several debates with people who were trying to define KRONK style to me, and it became the buzzword when Fury started working with Sugar Hill and knocked out Deontay Wilder in the second fight. KRONK style, Fury, KRONK style. And I was saying, like, well, KRONK style? What do you mean exactly? People are just saying this word and not defining what KRONK style is. What was this blueprint that Manny left behind that was KRONK style? And I said, it wasn't KRONK style. If we're looking at the best of the KRONK fighters, Tommy Hearns and Lennox Lewis, who didn't fight the same, but, you know, they worked behind their jabs and had good right crosses. Though Dennis Andrews didn't fight like that. He became a KRONK fighter. Jimmy Paul was more a counter puncher. Leonza Barber didn't fight like that. But a lot of people just kept KRONK style. And I was listening to IFL TV, and they were interviewing Andy Lee, who's training Joseph Parker, who takes on Joyce on Saturday. And the interviewer, oh, so is Joseph Parker going to use this KRONK style, the KRONK style? And Andy Lee said, what's KRONK style? The interviewer was like, clueless, didn't know what he was talking about. And Andy Lee said, KRONK is not a style, it's a mentality. It's getting people out of there. Knockouts. It's learning how to set up your punches to score knockouts. And that will be tailored around all types of different styles who go into that specific gym. And I said, Tyson Fury didn't use KRONK style per se. There may be some teachings that have been passed through the KRONK, but he was brawling as well. It was a hybrid of different styles. Probably the last world-class fighter, world champion, who Manny Stewart ever worked with, was Adonis Stevenson. He was trained by Sugar Hill. There weren't a whole load of people saying Adonis Stevenson, KRONK style, because people jump on the bandwagon on buzzwords. Let's keep it real, but it's the truth. So Stephen Espinosa is just taking random tweets from random people on social media and turning them into these narratives to try and throw shade at DAZN. Is this true? DAZN broadcast calling Canelo fans cartel members? ? The inference being, I guess, that Mexican fans wouldn't be able to afford tickets unless they're drug dealers. Indefensible and inexcusable. That's what you call going on a tangent. You just ran with it. You really ran with it and got creative. Is this what he's spending his time doing? How about you get David Benavidez a decent fight? Or Tank Davis, or get this Spence and Crawford shit finished? These guys are consumed with Eddie Hearn. Can anyone explain what this gibberish means? More than 1.06 pay-per-view buys generated worldwide, including pay-per-view and DAZN subscriptions. Since when do pay-per-view buys include subscriptions? If they do, we've been way under-reporting. Hint, they don't. It's intentional
obfuscation.
But you have to purchase the subscription to get the pay-per-view. So it's a pay-per-view buy. I don't understand what this guy's issue is. Then, you had ELLERBE jumping in, talking about, I don't have time to speak to you, I've got legendary stuff to do. What specifically? I mean, anyone could say you got legendary stuff. Tell us about a good fight that Tank's got coming up. What, is he fighting Shakur Stevenson, Devin Haney, or Lomachenko? No. You're filibustering. Neither Steven or Leonard can announce any 65 million site fee fights or anything like that. Nothing. Have no pay-per-view stars there at all. None. David Benavidez and Charlo, we're being told, are being ducked by Canelo for the last 4 years since Canelo's been on DAZN. Let's say Canelo is ducking them. Is that the only significant fight you can get out there for Charlo or David? If that's the case, then you're not doing your job, Stephen. You're not doing your job, Leonard ELLERBE. And the fact that Eddie is responding to them when they're really irrelevant is Eddie's insecurity that he feels he has to go back and forth with them online when he should just be ignoring them. The only one he should respond to on any level is Bob Arum. Stephen Espinosa and Leonard ELLERBE are irrelevant, trying to make themselves relevant by inserting themselves in the Eddie Hearn debate. Lou DiBella falls under that category as well. You're purchasing fights for Frank Warren to put on his broadcast. Where's your broadcasting deal? Lou wasn't really a promoter on the PBC. He was just there to help Al Heyman circumvent the Muhammad Ali Act, and now he's running around doing errands to annoy Eddie Hearn for Frank Warren. It's not no real promotion. I mean, Lou appeared to be really committed in the Amanda Serrano business, but where did Serrano get a career-defining fight with Eddie Hearn? And where's she fighting today? With Lou's new buddy he's sucking up to, Frank Warren. She's fighting on BT. Shakur stood his ground and was the dominant guy. CONCEICAO tried to open up a little more in the third round because trying to mess around from the outside and jab wasn't really working, was it? There was a knockdown, was it in the fourth? Like, I didn't see it at first. It was a body shot. It was a left to the body. But I think there was a case for another knockdown in that round as well. A left hook to the head, I believe it was. Shakur is well in charge now. He's a stronger man. The left hand is looking sharp. He's getting caught a few times, but he's being more aggressive, so you'd expect him to get hit a little more. Against a tall, rangy, good boxer, but mentally CONCEICAO hasn't transitioned into what it takes to make it to the top as a pro. When I say top, I mean he beat Valdez, he should have been champion. I'm talking about Shakur's level. He's not at Shakur's level. The 6th round was a good round, man. Like, they both traded some big hooks. CONCEICAO is doing his best to be assertive and as aggressive as you can expect, especially with his mindset. And he's threw some good body shots, he has. And some good headshots. But Shakur, in the last minute or so of the 6th, he swung around in his favour. I'm not scoring round for round, but has CONCEICAO won a round yet? The 7th, for a fighter that young, might be as good from a technical perspective, not necessarily frills and spills. But the way he came forward behind that southpaw jab, picked them body shots, didn't let CONCEICAO get off, it's very good. Very, very good. You know, he flurried as well, 2-handed attacks. And the reason I'm impressed with that round is that was a pivotal round for CONCEICAO. You could see he was really trying to make his mark in the fight and was aggressive. But Shakur took all the ambition out of Robson that round there. Crucial round. The doctor came to check on CONCEICAO's condition, which I thought was a bit of an overreaction. It wasn't that bad, but maybe you have to be up close ringside to actually see how much of a toll the fight is taking on him. I was impressed with CONCEICAO. He bounced back round 8 and took the initiative away from Stevenson and landed a massive right hand that forced Stevenson into the ring post, a little stunned. CONCEICAO's problem, though, is when he does have success, he can't maintain it and he can't build off it. He tired out, got outmaneuvered and got caught with some silly shots, and it was actually a tough round to score. I agreed with Andre Ward in round 9. Shakur is trying to prove something here, showing that he can be a come-forward fighter and hit with power. And he's loading up a little, and he's got no need to do that with that hand speed. He doesn't need to load up. If the knockout don't come, he's a mile ahead on points. Shakur was deducted a point for, what was it, Joe Tessitore called a hip toss. He threw Robson to the floor, was deducted a point. I don't want to big up Shakur too much because the career-defining fights to greatness have still yet to be fought. But watching Shakur, you see a lot of stuff that you may not have been able to explain before, but when you watch him boxing, a lot of things about boxing just become obvious. Like, a lot of people always pick faults in boxers. Why don't they move their head more? Why don't they move their head more? And I keep saying, do you know how hard it is to keep moving your head while someone's throwing punches at you, trying to take your head off? It's the most difficult thing to do. And Shakur, he helped me explain my position on this even further. You need the ability to anticipate either the punches or the action. You have to know how to set your feet correctly. You have to set the table first before head movement is incorporated into your style. You can't just be there moving your head like that. Unless you're being taught how to move your head correctly, just keep your hands up. You're going to get hit by keeping your hands up. You're still going to get hit, but just do that. And ask your coach how to move your head correctly and what drills you need to do. He got warned about hip tossing Robson again in the 10th, but the referee didn't do anything. He took a point off the first infringement. Second one just warned him. And the 11th, he put on a beautiful boxing display, man. That left hand, he didn't even come forward and just wade in. He just like countered the guy to death. Hurt him a couple of times. Shakur didn't make weight, so he had a lot more energy for this fight. He didn't make weight. He gave up his belts on the scale. Was he 2 pounds heavier? And according to what everyone's saying, he didn't even try and take it off. He just gave up the belts, gave his opponent 50 grand because CONCEICAO could have walked away from the fight and collected his full purse, but they gave him a sweetener with an extra 50 grand. Not much action in the last. Lopsided win for Shakur. Now the weight, I think he deliberately missed the weight. Probably outgrowing the weight class. 135 probably the next stop. And I'm not sure if Bob Arum was too mad that he lost the belts on the scale at all. He may have actually encouraged his fighter not to kill himself to make the weight, forget the belts. Because Bob said he's not going to make no unifications at 130 against Cordina or Garcia. He's not going to make no unifications. He wasn't interested. Shakur wanted to make unifications. But Bob wasn't interested, so they're going to look at the bigger money fights at 135, and the obvious names come up. Devin Haney, top boy, at 135. Then you've got Lomachenko, Tank Davis, Ryan Garcia. And that's a glamour division in comparison to 130, isn't it? So that's the next stop.